I opened the door already knowing who was on the other side. 5 years of silence sharpened my instincts like that. My parents stood there, hollow-eyed, shoulders sagging, the air around them heavy with the scent of desperation. For a moment, none of us spoke. They looked at me the way people look at a miracle they don't deserve. But I wasn't a miracle. I was the consequence they spent years pretending would never come. Emotional hook. The first thing my mother said was, "We didn't know where else to go." Not, "We're sorry," not, "We were wrong," just, "We need something from you," the family anthem. Their voices trembled. Mine didn't. Because unlike them, I'd rehearsed this moment. Backstory set up. I used to believe we were a family. Flawed, dysfunctional, but still stitched together. My twin sister Mara was the golden thread everyone protected. Her wins were celebrated, her failures cushioned. And me? I was the spare part they weren't sure how to use. We entered college together. Her dream, my effort. I studied until dawn, breathed textbooks, prayed for a chance to prove I belonged. Meanwhile, Mara floated through classes, drunk on entitlement and actual alcohol. I remember the night it happened, the dean's call, the shattered window in the dorm common room. Mara, too wasted to stand, mascara streaking down her cheek as she whispered, "Please, they'll kill me." She meant our parents. What she didn't say was, "You'll save me, you always do." And I did. Because back then, I still believed loyalty was a virtue, not a weapon people used against you. They didn't hesitate. Of course she didn't do it. She's our Mara. Then, all eyes on me. But you? You always struggle. Maybe college isn't for you. The expulsion notice felt like a knife I had to hold by the blade. That was the night I cut myself off. Quietly, cleanly, completely. Discovery of betrayal. Distance gives you clarity. I watched from afar as Mara spiraled. Gambling, debt, a marriage that lasted 3 months, affairs that lasted shorter. And my parents? They kept funding her disasters, convinced she was just misunderstood. I didn't plan revenge then. I just watched, observed, noted the patterns. But the real betrayal surfaced 2 years ago in a message forwarded by a mutual acquaintance. Your parents mortgaged the house for Mara's latest business idea. She burned through it in 6 months. I read it twice, heart slowing instead of quickening. That was the first undeniable sign. Then came the second, "They're selling your grandmother's land, the one meant for both of you." But they didn't call me. They never asked me. They just erased me again, assuming I'd never matter enough to notice. That was the moment I shifted. Shift in mindset. I didn't scream, didn't confront. I analyzed. People like them, people who build their identity on lies, collapse best under the weight of truth. So I started gathering every document tied to my name, every record, every contract they'd tampered with to funnel assets to Mara. Quiet inquiries, legal consultations, financial audits. Not revenge, correction. I learned something important. Everything they'd stolen under my name was reversible if challenged by the rightful owner. So I challenged. Execution of the plan. One by one, I reversed the transfers, froze accounts, reclaimed assets, reported discrepancies. My lawyer handled the parts I couldn't stomach, but I wrote every email, calm, factual, precise. Then I notified the bank that any attempt to leverage property tied to my inheritance without my signature would be flagged as fraud. 3 weeks later, my parents' financial foundation crumbled. Not because I wrecked it, but because Mara already had, and I simply refused to be the silent cushion beneath their fall. Their house? Gone. Their savings? Drained. Their golden child? missing with whatever cash she could scrape. All that was left was the daughter they had cast aside. Me. Climax and confrontation. And now here they were, shivering on my doorstep. My father cleared his throat. "We just need a place to stay. Just for a while." I looked at them, really looked, and for the first time I felt nothing resembling guilt. "You made your choice," I said, each word deliberate. "You chose her. You chose to destroy everything for her. And when it collapsed, you came to the daughter you discarded because you thought I'd still be obedient." My mother's voice cracked. "We thought you'd understand." "Oh, I understand." I opened the door wider, not to let them in, but to let the cold air between us deepen the truth. "You didn't come here for forgiveness. You came here because I'm the only child who ever cleaned up your messes." Their faces collapsed in slow motion as the realization settled. I'm not cleaning anymore. Then I shut the door, not slammed, just closed with the same quiet finality they once used to close off their love. I leaned against the door afterward, not shaking, not crying.